What's the difference between a rich person and a poor person? You might respond with, oh, the market was favorable or he got lucky. However, if there was a neurological process that could take your mind and substitute it with that of Elon, would you be rich? Exactly. It's very clear that the problem or the solution to the problem is not externalities as you wrongfully attribute them to. It's your mind. Rich people and poor people, they have different mindsets. So you think poorly, by extension, you are poor, which is the first thing. So rich people think in terms of acquisition and assets. Poor people think in terms of spending. Now, assets, as you know it, to the mindset or to the mind of a rich person, is not necessarily to produce cash flow. So buckle up, listen very attentively. We are about to explore a new thought pattern. So cash flow is at the bottom of the totem pole. They acquire assets primarily as a hedge against inflation. We've all seen what's going on in the economy. The national debt is skyrocketing, going through the roof, and nobody's doing anything about it. So, as the debt accumulates, as Biden begins to borrow more and more money, is devaluing our currency. And that notion has been thrown around for centuries without any logical explanation behind it. It's become quite ubiquitous. Everybody's saying, stop printing money, but they don't know as to why. Where's the linear correlation between printing money and the devaluation of your currency? That's what I'm about to explain. So buckle up. Say there are only $20 in the whole wide universe, and $20 gives you exposure to this asset class. If an additional $20 was to be created, not by some kind of value exchange, but created from the sky magically, it just appeared. So there's no intrinsic value connected to that $20. Invariably, this asset class would skyrocket because the owner of this asset class now holds the same tool of exchange as you. So if I own a home as well as the $20, while in the hell would I sell you that asset class for the same $20? If you want that asset class, you have to pay full price, or you can hit the road. That's the first one. Another way to explore it, or another angle to look at it from, is this whole problem started in 1970 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. It now means that the dollar had no intrinsic value. It became a pure legal tender. Of course, it has always been a legal tender, but it was backed up by something intrinsic. A legal tender is what the government of a country authorizes to be the tool for transaction. I don't want to go into the characteristics of money. I believe all of you have that fundamental education about money, portable, durable, etc., etc., etc. So when the gold was delinked, or when the dollar was delinked from the gold standard, it now meant that they could print as much of these dollars as they want on a whim without any intrinsic value. Dollar is no longer linked to gold, so the more they print, the more money that injects itself into the economy, especially the one that was printed out of the sky with no genuine transaction behind them, would cause inflation over time. Let me give you an example. I'm sure most of you are wondering, I've listened to every single thing you've said up until this point, and you make sound advice. You attacked it from various logical perspectives. But what I find difficult to understand is how do they inject this money into the economy? And that's a very astute observation. I've spent years of my life asking the same question because I see money as water. Money is water, current, currency, current. So if you can find the next place that water is going to move and you stand in between, you would get wet. So if I could only discover how they inject this money into the economy, I would get wet. I began searching, reading up, doing a lot of discovery. And what I'm about to share took me 3 years to discover. I'm going to give it to you for free. No extra cost, only your attentiveness and your determination to become better, which is the whole idea of mentorship. Mentorship is like going to the farm, processing food, branding it, packaging it, and serving it to you on a silver platter. There are thousands of ways which the government used to inject money into the economy. So unless you have 10 hours to sit and let me explain the different ways, let me give you the most prevalent method of which you can take advantage at low cost. Sitting at home, there's no excuse for you not to jump on this opportunity. It's something called open market operations. This is where a government of a country goes to the open market and buys securities like different asset classes from stocks, bonds, etc. So this newly printed dollars is handed to the previous owner of the securities. The owner either deposits it in a bank, which brings it into the economy. And you know the fundamental business of banks is to lend money. So they're lending these newly printed dollars. And according to the new fractional reserve system, the banks are only liable to 10% of the money. So the rest of the 90%, they lend it out. And if that customer decides to redeposit it, they can create further credits out of that money. So it's like $100 gets lent out for $90. That $90 gets redeposited. They lend out $80 if I'm correct, or lesser. You do the math, figure it out. So it's a big bubble that's only waiting to burst. That is from a bank perspective. They can go out conversely and spend this money. If they spend this money, who is benefiting? Louis Vuitton, Gucci. If they decide to invest it, the economy is still benefiting. So regardless of what they do with this money, the economy is booming. Good, bad, positive, neutral, the economy still benefits. If you decide to open a business or invest in some kind of infrastructure, you still need to hire employees. You still need to get physical assets and furnitures and lightings. All of that are still within the economic space. Those transactions, those value exchange is still from the newly printed money, making it injected into the economy in some way, which is the first one. Another way they can use to tighten the economic policy is, you guessed it, to sell those existing securities and reclaim back their dollars. A step back would be when they want to tighten the monetary supply. What do? You guessed it right. Sell the existing securities and reclaim the cash. That's one of the ways they use to curb inflation. So, my friend, the moment you hear they are printing money, it should be an indicator for you to invest in digital asset classes in their varieties from stock, bonds, rates. And I'm not telling you what to invest in, just highlighting different asset class. Now you know they don't inject money into the economy by making it rain from a helicopter or Boeing 547. Now you know now you know how it happens. So this information puts you in a better position to make sound investment judgments. And as always, my friends, it's a pleasure speaking to you. I'll see you in the next one.